Coexist. I'm Greg. This is my other half, Kenya. And this episode, we'll be talking about 2026, just going into a new year, the meaning of it biblically,
Hmm.
just foresight on how we see ourselves going into the new year.
Yes.
But like
Yeah.
when you think about that, what comes to your mind? And then, I know you were looking at different things and you wanted to read something for us, but let's get into that.
Yeah. So before I read anything, as I was saying earlier, I think a lot of people set resolutions like to lose weight,
Mm.
to just do this and that or whatever. But I honestly think when you're about to change and it's like you're really trying to transform, as a believer, it needs to be like from obviously a spiritual, like the actual spiritual thing, like growing closer to God.
Yeah.
So yesterday, I was thinking about it, and I looked up what it means biblically for the year 2026. And it basically says that 2026 isn't assigned a specific grand prophecy, but prophetic voices suggest it's a time for spiritual alignment, new beginnings, hearing God's voice, fishing for men. Um, and then it's coinciding with the Hebrew year 5786, a year of the voice, which is very significant. That focuses on intimacy with God and establishing His rule. It also marks significant U.S. history. Obviously, it's the 250th anniversary. But other meanings is bold declaration, divine connection, confronting spiritual opposition, refining faith through trials and fire, and answering a global call to evangelism, emphasizing authenticity, unity, and establishing God's kingdom through mouths, our words, and building discipleship. So it's seen as a year to move from hearing to doing. Um, a spiritual decade of decree, which is very important. So basically, once again, it's you're not just hearing the word. I'm sorry, you're doing. And then once again, it's the year of the voice, as far as like the year 5786.
Yeah, I think it lines up with what we've been studying in church and pastors been talking about
Mm-hmm.
evangelizing and just getting out there and pushing the kingdom forward versus just sitting back, learning because
Mm-hmm.
eventually like how much learning can you do without putting it to,
Action.
action. So it's kind of like and you can still learn and do at the same time. You don't have to just get all this knowledge and if you're not gaining the knowledge to apply it, what are you really
Mm-hmm.
gaining it for? And even
Yeah.
that's just even when you're in school and you get all these degrees, a lot of people just have degrees and degrees and degrees and they're not working in that field or they're not applying it to life or just not, what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like when I think about what you just read, it kind of makes me think of everything that I'm learning, that I'm studying, that I'm just praying on and have been spoken into my life. I want to start to put it into action. Working with teenagers, just spreading the kingdom, spreading the love of God, bringing more people into the fold. Because it's not for me. I don't have a hell to send them to, but I want to speak about God more often, and I try to do that
Mm.
on my social media platforms, and
Yeah.
I listen to worship music all the time and stuff just like that, just to try to um in so many eyes make it cool because when I was growing up to be all in the church and to be like that was kind of corny. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Or it was whatever,
Yeah.
but it was frowned upon a little bit by the cooler people. But now it's like it's nothing wrong with it. I think it should be celebrated. And for me and my social media, that's kind of how I approach it. You know what I'm saying? Trying to give it a different aspect on it. So
Yeah. And then
what do you think?
it also talks on the authenticity and fruit. So a call to move beyond mere words or appearances to demonstrate genuine faith through actions, relationships, and discipleship. So I do think, like you said, it's about that, not just hearing it, but actually being doers of the word. And I think that's in the book of James. So don't be just hearers,
Here's
but doers of the word. Um, and so I feel like 2026 too is a year where people are going to start to really sense and like understand and be able to feel like be more intuitive of like the real Christians, like, or
yeah.
the real followers of Christ. which has already been revealed. Obviously, like the past years, people have been getting more exposed.
Mm.
But I really feel like when you're in church or you're hearing the word or you're watching something on YouTube or what have you, I do pray and hope that when you're seeing it and hearing it, you're able to have that intuition like, this person is like a real person of God. He or she is like actually telling the truth, or
Mm.
they're full of it. Like something is just off. Like I feel like a lot of people this year is going to start to really be able to
Yeah.
discern that with
And a lot of
people.
times you can see it just with, like you said, the state of the world. You see a lot of
Mhm.
evilness just coming out of people, and it's not under a veil anymore. It's just out in the open. Like the races are races, just out in the
Mhm.
open. It's like the world is divided. But I think a lot of times it's for a purpose, so you can a lot can be exposed.
Like they're separating the wheat from the tare. I think that's
Yeah,
happening.
yeah.
We're starting to see that more and more, and I do feel like, with like you said, stuff that's happening in the world. If you read the book of Matthew, like wars, rumors of wars, and all of that, I think it's really important, and this is a time especially for the youth, those that are coming up under us,
Hmm.
to really like press in the word. And if we are trying to encourage the youth, like you said, you can,
Hmm.
it's not cool, you know what I'm saying, to
Yeah.
follow the word of God. It's actually more cool if you think about
I
it.
mean, and I just
Yeah.
encourage people to like read for yourself,
Mhm.
because it says our people perish for the lack of knowledge. But read for yourself, get a relationship with Christ for yourself.
Study and show yourself
Don't
approved.
just go to
Yeah.
church and just sit there. Really like look for that relationship. Um, Seek
Mhm.
the kingdom first, and these things should be added. Because I think that as we really go after that relationship, He will come and reveal Himself
Well,
to
with
us.
yeah, I was gonna say with relationship is what revelation.
Yeah,
I think.
because I was,
Yeah.
like we were talking, and I was thinking about like what I will be ministering on next, and we were talking about like that
Mhm.
encounter. Like a lot of people haven't had that encounter with Christ, and I think that's the separation sometimes they have. It's like you can hear about it, I can read about them on a book, but until I have that
Mhm.
encounter, what makes it real for me, you know.
Yeah.
So I think that that's what some people might be missing, and I pray that everyone has that opportunity to have that experience. So.
And I think about too, I don't know why, like, with our youth coming up, I think it's important because like you just, tomorrow's not promised. I think a
Hmm.
lot of youth, like I was telling Greg, like I feel like with the youth, they feel like they're indispensable, nothing's going to
Hmm.
happen to them. And like there's so many stories of youth that didn't make it to 14, they didn't make it to 15, because they're like involved in the wrong crowds and stuff. And I think if you have the word of God, if you have a good mentor, that has Christ like as their person, then
Yeah.
I feel like that helps a lot to keep them out of trouble and
Yeah,
stuff.
because that was the story of my life growing up in LA. We
Mhm.
wasn't like promised to make the C21, so it was like we
Oh
celebrated at
wow.
21. We celebrated because like we made it.
Oh
And
wow.
that's how a lot of people feel, and it's a sad feeling. And I didn't understand that until I moved out of California, and out of LA, to get that. Like, dang, it's more to
Mm,
life than just this that's in this box. But like I said, I've been praying,
wow.
and just I hope that young and old have the opportunity to experience Christ
Mhm.
in the way that I have, and I know where my blessings come from, and things of that nature. So.
Yeah, and I love this. So, like I said, 2026 is the year of not just hearing, but actually doing.
Hmm.
If you're in church, you're taking notes. Like this year, it's the first, like you have plenty of time. Like go home and read what you actually like wrote down.
Hmm.
Like take time to read a couple of scriptures a day. It doesn't take that long to
No.
where God can over time start like, revealing more and more to you and stuff. And it's not going to get, I did hear a pastor once say too, it's going to get worse. It's not going to get better in the
Yeah.
world, but it's how you navigate over time.
And being mindful of what you
Mindful.
letting into your ear and eye gates too. Like,
Mhm.
um, anything from like movies, music, whatever. Like, what I'm saying? Just being mindful of that.
Mhm.
Um, you know. So that's pretty much all I have. Going into this year, I really
Yes.
pray that God reveals Himself to everyone out there.
Mhm.
Um, like, subscribe, tell us your thoughts,
Yes.
tell us your resolutions, or you know what I'm saying, or if you think this is helpful for you to have that encounter, or I pray that everyone has that. But
Yep. And that's it, I guess.
all right.
All right.
So see you guys next time.
See you next time.
Bye.